How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, Fleece Johnson here, live in flesh. And so today we're doing our next round of interviews for our upcoming Copa del Supremo. And here tonight, this wonderful night, we have my boy, William Avalos. How are you doing today, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good right now. Doing good. I mean, uh, as of now, we're here, but we're good.
You know, man, I'm glad to hear because you know what? No matter what happens, the important thing is to show up and, give a little bit of effort because at the end of the day, sometimes that just might be all you have. And with that, it's a-okay, man.
Exactly, exactly. So
So with with how things are for you right now, you seem to be, everybody's going through the things, but you seem to show up, you seem to be glowing, and so that's all that matters. So with this interview, we're gonna kick off by, kind of going back in the past a little bit, a little bit of a
yeah,
blast in the past too.
yeah.
Our previous Copa, which was back in March, I believe, and
Mm-hmm.
that as we remember, the weather wasn't exactly the most ideal. It was pretty cold, wet, rainy. And so going back to that Copa, how do you feel about the weather that happened during that Copa?
It was cold. It was. It was a little misty, and it wasn't ideal, especially with my stamina at that point. It was pretty bad. It was pretty washed, and then with my asthma, I was like, dang. Uh, we're cooked and everything. My chest was like it wasn't it. The weather was not. It wasn't ideal Copa weather.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. It was so cold that Copa. Not to mention with it everything being wet, people like had their clothes wet, like especially like their cleats. So
Yeah.
it was kind of uncomfortable, and it kind of got dark like the later on during the Copa. So as you can see, we can kind of get a general idea on how the setting was for Las Copa. And going back to Las Copa, we'll dive into your games, how you did performance wise. So you started off your first game, your kickoff game against Dante, a 2-0 win.
Hmm.
Nice, calm and easy against Dante. You beat him before the time right now. You thought pretty easy game. It was a pretty easy game.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, yeah.
yeah, no, if you want to, you can go forward,
Sorry.
but there's
Uh,
not too much to explain about that, yeah.
yeah. It was like you said. It was a pretty calm game. I can't remember much of it, but it felt like I was off to a good start.
It definitely did seem that way. But then this is when things took a turn for the worst. Your
Yeah.
second round game against Chuck. Usually everybody assumes what the outcome of that specific game is going to be.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's almost common knowledge what the outcome would be in that game. But as you
Hmm.
can see with the beautiful game of football, and especially in Copa, things can happen. There could be upsets. And in this game, instead of you winning a comfortable 2-0, before the clock runs out, Chuck surprisingly took a 1-0 win home. He took all 3 points from you, and those points could have been detrimental to you. What was your reactions and thoughts during that game against Chuck?
Um. It's been so long, so I low forgot, but I do remember losing. I don't know. I feel like the first goal came pretty quickly or something like that, and then I was just so bad that Copa that no matter what I did, I couldn't get any shots in. Everything just wasn't going my way, and as you could tell, it ended in a loss. And then, if I remember correctly, the next game, I just continued to go downhill.
Yes, and you're precisely correct on that one because on your next game, you played against Dylan. Another win. One of the newer members to Copa. So
Yeah.
you would think that you would get a comfortable 2-0 win, like as you did against Zonk in the first round. But turns out you suffered another 1-0 defeat to Dylan. And as you said before in your previous reaction to Chuck's game, it was such a long time ago that you don't exactly remember too well how you were feeling at that time. But
For that
looking
one
back
though,
looking back
for
on it now, how was that defeat to Dylan?
Dylan actually I remember a lot more. I remember at this point it's game three, so my stamina was buns and I was buns, and I remember struggling, especially like going like running at the ball and we're going like shoulder to shoulder, and it was a losing battle. Anytime I dribble, he'd just stop it, or if I was far, he would come close, so I didn't have time, or it ran, and he would be there. He was just there every time. If I got a shot off, it was blocked or it was wide, and it was just that was a horrible game. I got completely beat. The score was 1-0, but it felt like a 10-0 defeat with how much it just did not work for me. And then after that, I was horrible game, horrible game. My one of my worst losses for.
And I mean, it's a very surprising result considering the fact that you're one of the big three, and Dylan being a newcomer. You would think that would be a pretty easy win for you. But
Yeah,
as we've seen, Dylan is he's a pretty exceptional athlete. He's got size, going for he's got speed. And one thing that Dylan has that he's relentless. He just that boy does not give up.
yeah.
So he never made the game easy for you. And as you can see, his efforts paid off with the 1-0 win, him collecting all 3 points. So
Hmm.
at this point in the standings, you only have 3 points. That's from the first initial game from Dante.
Yeah,
Yep, out of possible 9 points. So in your next round, it was a little bit of a do or die situation. You had to win that game in order to guarantee your spot into playoffs. And luckily for you, you played against just the person who would give you those 3 points, and that would be Lucas. You played against Lucas and actually came off with a 2-1 win, which on paper looks like a pretty close game because you wouldn't necessarily expect the game against Lucas to go down 2-1, considering the fact that it's the first of two goals. So
yeah.
what's your thoughts on that game?
Um, I don't remember that game. I think it got one. Obviously, it was 1-1 at one point, and then I think either he scored or maybe he scored first, and I was like, all right, like this, I can't go out like this. So I scored two goals. I think that's what happened, but it was a mess. Unfortunately, it went my way. I went to manage to win the game. And also with like Leo not being there, and Luki got to play twice. So he was guaranteed going to the playoffs anyways, but he did have to play twice. So there was that. And then there was just a lot that went my way because I think Dante was the third place game in that as well. So I think he played Luki and he won. Um, so let's say Leo was there and I was last. I think there still would have been a chance of me qualifying if all the games went the same way. But yeah, definitely, it was a horrible position to be in, especially with like my playoffs appearance being on the line. Especially in a group that was heavily expected of me to win it with like no issue. From that to being last, it definitely was a lot. So yeah, I needed to win that game. I can't remember how, but I remember like that one goal Lucas scored. I was like, yeah, like this can't happen. Like I have to win it.
And that's true. And luckily for you, you ended up winning the game, got 3 points, which you ended up with 6 points out of a possible 12 points that you could have in
Yeah,
that group.
yeah.
So with that led you to the playoffs. In that playoffs, you played against, if I'm not mistaken, you played against
I played
not
Luki again.
you played Lucas again. And that obviously we know.
Oh yeah,
I don't necessarily have the score pulled up with me, but I do remember that was another win for you.
yeah,
Another 0 win. So that's
yeah.
good. Clean
Bounce.
sweep, Lucas.
Yeah, I bounced back in that one. I think the playoff break, getting like all the seedings down and taking that break to like regain my breath and everything, it helped a lot. Regained it and then boom, got back to business and got a nice 3-0 win against Luki to move on to the semis.
And absolutely. And you know what? And something I've noticed is that in these breaks, it's a make or break moment for each individual player. And in this moment, the break really helped you out. How it gave you a chance to catch your breath and then recover your stamina and stuff like that. So luckily for you, the break allowed you to recover enough to beat Lucas 3-0. And then in your next round, you played against you played against Joel.
Mm-hmm.
That game, it seemed like for one of the first for the first time you were the underdog because Joel had came off undefeated in his group and
Yep.
when say he had even broken the record for the fastest game to be the fat like winning the game in
Yeah.
the fastest way. So
Yeah.
against, I believe, because he also beat that record against Chuck, but
Hmm.
that game played over. But that's a different conversation
Yeah,
from
that's
that.
a different story.
But
Yeah.
either way, he came off exceptional group stage. Started slowing down a little bit towards the end, but that's also outside factors and stuff like that. But you came into this game being the underdog, and what happened? You let us know what happened.
Yeah, I went to that game. I'm not gonna lie. Based on how I played myself, I was like, okay, this is gonna be a hard game. Hoed came off a really, really good group stage, really dominant performances in his group, and I was like, okay, he's obviously the favorite to win this one for season 7. He was the favorite. I mean, he beat Miguel in the regular season, so he was favorite to win. I was like, I got probably the worst person to play against in the semifinals. Um, but yeah, the game went, and I just had like that nice second wind, and um, it ended in a you know we all know how it ended in a 3-2 and a win towards me, and that one I played. I played way differently than I played in the group stage. I was putting a lot on the line. I know there was one goal where I mean I slid for it and I like a little slide like a slide tackle and I kicked it and it went past Dylan and it went for the goal. There was just moments like that where it's like, you know what, I need to reach this ball no matter what. I need to do it, and I just put my ball in the line. I mean, it was, and that field's not a fun field. There's nothing. There's a lot of like spikes or like little stuff there that really gets your skin itching. So I was like, not thinking too much about it. Let me not hesitate, and I need to do what I need to do, and that's how some of the goals went. I managed to get that, and also I think the fact that like it wasn't going Hoed's way either kind of messed with him too. And there's just so many things that went my way finally in that season, for that game, and yeah, I managed to bag a 3-2 win and make my way back to the finals.
And luckily for you, that win was that win was such probably for you. I would imagine it would be such a breath, not a breath, a breath of fresh air for you.
Hmm.
Seeing as how you went into the semifinal, the underdog in this situation, and you ended up beating the tournament's favorite. So
Yeah.
that's amazing to know that you've finally gotten your second win right when you exactly needed it, and that was against Joel. So it was a good game. 3-2. That was a very close game. We
Yeah.
can't we're not gonna sit here and deny that wasn't one of the most entertaining games
Oh,
of the entire.
for sure.
So congratulations to you on that. And then we move on to the final. With the final,
Finals. Yeah.
Miguel, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts in the final?
Um, I mean, it's against Miguel. Another, it's always gonna be a classic. It's always that same rivalry, being the two oldest going back in history. There's always been a rivalry there, and that one, coming off my win against Hoed, I was kind of gassed, and I was like, okay, let me continue trying this momentum. And I mean, it went my way. I think I scored first, and he equalized, and I went again 2-1. And then I think there was a chance to where he missed it. So I was like, okay, I have the ball again. Let's make it 3-1. And my opportunity slipped away. And then Miguel, in typical fashion, kicked in fourth gear and he took it all off 2-2, 3-2, and then boom, ends it with a 4-2, claim his fifth championship. Um, so it was bittersweet ending in a loss, especially because I was leading 2-1 at one point. And if I didn't mess up opportunities, I could have. There was a chance for me to actually to win that. But I look back at that Copa and I'm like, okay, based on how the whole tournament went, making it to the finals is actually like really surprising. And did I want it to end in a loss? No, but I made it back to the finals. I got my silver. I put in a good performance, and as much as a championship would be nice, the the updated records and stuff like that. Being on the leaderboard, still second place in goals, back in second place. I overtook goals on the medal podium, and we're equal in stats except for goal difference. And his Copa, my Copa, bad as it was, it helped manage to take over. So there were small things that Copa really helped take over and win spot back. But yeah, it was a tough loss, especially knowing that gap between me and Miguel forever widens. It continues to widen. So yeah, that was that. But I made it back to the finals when I didn't think I was gonna make it, and that so small wins and a big loss.
And you can see, and considering the fact that your record in the group stage match, in the group stage match, in group stage matches, I would say, because you had a couple bad games in there.
Yeah,
And to make it all the way to the final, that's truly proof to me and to you and to everybody else that no matter what happens in the group stage or no matter what happens in a game, it's not gonna define your entire tournament. So no matter what, I feel like it's a lesson to all of us,
oh
that
yeah,
like in every game you gotta give it your effort because you don't know how the next is gonna be affected by it. And
yeah,
they, as you can see, it worked out perfectly for you. You didn't give up. The semifinal win was just enough to give you the edge to go into the final and put up a fight against Miguel. But as we all know, eventually Miguel, he's just like quite put it simply, he's just good at winning copas. So
yeah,
with the result, a little disappointing for you because you had made it so far into the competition. You can also give yourself a little bit of props for not giving up because no any other person would have given up like like past like in the group stage they would have given up. But you, on the other hand, you just kept on persevering, and it paid off because you got podium, you got your second place medal. So that's
yeah,
good.
yeah. I mean, I had to, couldn't let the Copa end in a group stage elimination. I mean, part of the big three in a group stage elimination, that's just not a good sign. So I couldn't have that on my record. And I couldn't, and that really helped me push forward. But yeah, like you said, it serves, I'm such an inspiration to everybody else because, like, as much as, like, y'all's games can go bad and stuff like that, as long as you just do a lot harder and really, like, if you really, really are hungry for that win, you're gonna find ways to win to get that win and, like, don't really think too much about your opponent. I mean, I went against Joel and he was dominating every game and I managed to come on top of that. So it's football, anything can happen. You just need to have the right mindset for it.
Exactly. You got the right mindset. You gotta stay hard in order to stay in the competition. So no matter what,
Exactly, rock hard.
rock hard, solid hard. So
Yeah,
you gotta stay hard no matter what. So
exactly.
going on to this Saturday for Copa,
Hmm.
continuing on the hardness,
Yeah.
we I would ask, how's your Copa preparation looking like? How's that been?
um it's been okay. I think for, like, the beginning part of it, within the last 2 weeks it's been better. I've done some little, like, drills, or I'll go play with Luki at, like, a park or something, and mainly just being consistent, trying to be consistent at the gym. That's really fallen off. Both recent life developments, I just been more in the gym, just trying to get my mind in, like, different areas. So I've been there more consistently. I've done a lot of the treadmill along with, like, body stuff. So working on stamina has been a little bit better. I feel like my athletic level is another level than what it was back in March. So I'm excited to see how I do in Copa. But yeah, nothing much on a football standpoint, but like everybody else, gymming and trying to improve where I can improve at.
And you know what? At least a little bit of improvement is better than nothing. So we're gonna be excited to see you, maybe not exactly new, but definitely improved in your athletic aspect of the Copa. You'll be coming in better stamina. You've been working on the treadmill, stuff like that. You probably coming in stronger as you've been working out in the gym and stuff like that. So we'll
Yeah.
kind of see how that gets put into the test with your upcoming matches, which speaking into that segues right perfectly into where I ask you, what are your opinion on your upcoming matches? Because you
Um.
match day one, you have Dylan rematch against Dylan. So
Yeah.
we all know Copa. How do you think things are gonna play out this time?
I'm excited for that one. It's definitely a rematch for myself to, see how all my progress has been, actually, to see how if it's been pointless or if it's actually worked out. And then also Dylan is can be a very, very tough opponent. I've experienced that, so it'll be nice to see that. I'm hoping to win and set myself up for a better group stage.
That's gonna like to hear. And Dylan, as we've seen before, he's a pretty difficult opponent. So you just have to see. And I'd say, word of advice for what I've seen, you know, you gotta make sure you gotta be careful when Dylan's behind you
Hmm.
because I've seen what Dylan has done to players when he's behind them. And let's just say their back got rearranged. So you do what you will with that information. I just say if Dylan's behind you, stay clenched.
Okay,
So
that makes sense. That's the real reason Leo's not playing, huh?
that that and also another player has picked up an injury because of Dylan's back shots. But
Mm, see, I see.
that's a topic for another day.
That's yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a topic for off camera stuff. So, anyways, on to your next game, the rivalry match, the Unk rivalry, Unk rivalry. You
uh,
versus. What are your thoughts on that?
um, it's gonna be a good game, hopefully at least, and it'll be definitely be my benchmark to see where I'm at for the Copa. Um, as much as like Dylan is like, okay, let me see if everything's paid off. This is the real one where it's like, okay, this really really sets the tone. Especially if I get that win against Dylan, this will set the tone for the group stage, and it will have big playoff implications. So I'm excited for it. I Any game against Miguel is always gonna be fun. It's always gonna be challenging, especially with these new rules now. It's not first to two. It's you gotta play the full 5 minutes. So yeah, that's gonna be tough. It's like different standpoints of what am I gonna do. Like how to play Miguel. I don't know. It's gonna be hard. Like full 5 minutes. I mean, I could score a goal and try to defend, but if he scores like two, and it's just, but
It's bad.
yeah, but nah, I'm gonna have to go with that one with my A game. I can't think that one. I think let me not think too much about my stamina stuff like that. Let me give it my all. So yeah, I think that's more my standpoint is forget trying to save stuff. Let me just give it my all.
That one for you is gonna be more of a mental battle
Yeah,
in the sense that you can't give up, you can't let up anything at all at any point because one mistake against Miguel is very costly. So I can kind of see where you're coming from into that. And so that would be definitely an entertaining game to watch. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, you catch that game here on LMP Live.
yes,
So
sir.
with after your game against Miguel, Unk rivalry, hopefully y'all don't like in a downtime, y'all don't talk about like 401ks or whatever stuff. Because y'all's people age and stuff like that, old people. So anyways, you go on to one of your younger victims, Chuck. What's your thoughts against Chuck? And I did say one of your younger victims, but as you saw in last Copa, he's the one who victimized you. So in this case, what are things looking like? Who's getting touched out of you two?
If I would have to say in those exact words, Chuck's about to get molested. I believe so. I feel like I haven't really heard anything about him putting in any practice, any training, and stuff like that. So yeah, especially with the gym, I think I might have to do some devious things in that game. Especially with the recording, I'm about to cliff farm. There's gonna be a content warning with that game. Hopefully, talking about it's just a lot of PG 18 things you're gonna see on that one.
Dude, and we loved it. We love to hear that, man. We love to hear that you're coming into this game. You're about to come into this game with a lot of action, a lot of force, you're gonna come into this game hard on mentality and stuff like that. And we love to see it. That game might
Yeah,
be, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Y'all might record a film or something like that with how entertaining that game's gonna be. So, what's going on to that game from one, possible victim to someone who's already a victim. Now,
Yeah.
you see, here's Copa. You actually did beat Lucas. You did
Mhm.
victimize this time, last Copa. So how's it looking in this Copa? How are things gonna stay with between you and your little bro?
Um, I'm about to cliff farm like crazy, like
That's not that crazy. Okay.
unlimited goals. I'm hoping to go double digits.
Wow. Double
Yeah,
digits.
yeah,
That's big. Those are some big words.
yeah,
And um, as you can see, you're coming in very confident to this game against Lucas. And as we've seen, most of the time when people talk, he usually hasn't been able to back it up as well as others can. So we'll see how this goes. And I think it'll be a fun game no matter what. Yes, the clip farming will be elite. It will be elite. So we'll just have to see how that goes. So
yeah.
from that, And your thoughts on each individual game. Do you see yourself winning all four games in the group stage?
Uh, I can see myself winning all four games. Yeah,
So you think you can go a possible 12 points?
I would hope so. I would hope I can go a possible 12 points. Yes.
All right. That's what we love to hear. We love to hear the confidence, man. We love to hear that you think you can touch up every single man that you play against. We
Hell yeah.
love to hear that. We love to
Mm-hmm.
hear that. So, what's going off of the group stage and stuff like that, how far do you think you can progress into this Copa?
Um, up to a big three standard, semifinals has to be the minimum part. Going to the finals is ideal, and winning is obviously the main goal. And I think that win against Miguel will, provide that as well. And also Miguel has that game against Joel, so that would be big too. So there's a lot of stuff that go in their way. But yeah, uh, semifinals minimum, but winning it is obviously the goal. Anything less is a failure and a disappointment.
That's wonderful. Ah, that's wonderful to hear. You gotta stay confident in something like that. So like, I just asked you, how do you see yourself when, like, in Copa, you see yourself making semifinals at minimum, so like that, and then reaching podium, obviously, is like the expectation, and obviously, winning's the dream. So whenever I ask you, like, so this is how you're feeling. Now I want to ask you this, where do you see yourself in 50 years?
Where I see myself in 50 years, ah, I'm gonna retire. Hopefully with like 8 Copa wins. I'm at one right now, and at this point, we're doing one or two a year. So it's gonna take a long time. But if I can end with 8 wins, I'll be happy.
That's wonderful to hear because you know what? Yeah, everybody gonna strive to win Copa. So you know what? Because like you can die tonight. You can die tonight, and if you haven't
Exactly.
won Copa, you really haven't lived. So
Yeah.
that's wonderful to hear. That's wonderful to hear that Copa's still gonna be, going on the future and stuff like that. And as you've seen, it's a pretty entertaining time of year whenever we do have Copas, whenever we're doing the interviews and the whole process and stuff like that. So I want to ask you this. What are your thoughts and opinions on this whole entire thing? Just be fun. And actually, another question I want to ask you, what do you think of the weather aspect of Copa? It's supposed to be pretty rainy, know what I'm saying, cloudy. Might be storming actually. We don't know. I haven't exactly, weather's a little bit consistent. It's hard to predict
Yeah.
until you get there the day of. But as it seems so far, we might have either wet conditions or rainy conditions. So what are your thoughts on that? How is that going to affect you?
Um. Okay. So how I feel about everything first. Copa is always a wonderful time. It's gonna be nice to spend time with the guys again, especially because it's been a pretty long minute. Fun but competitive. I ain't out here to like, I'm for the fun moments. I'm from the cliff farming and stuff like that, but I'm also here to win it. So I'm gonna be out there, playing it serious but having fun at the same time. And yeah, I'm excited, especially with Jonathan subbing in for Leo. It's gonna make Copa a lot more intensive and competitive. So that'll be a fun part too. As for the weather, I mean, at this point, we haven't had a perfect weather Copa in like 2 years, so I'm not tripping about too much. On turf, about be slipping and sliding, but I won Copa in these conditions last time. It was raining. Um, it wasn't cold, so maybe the cold will play more of a part this time. But I did win on that field, so I'm hoping to repeat it again.
We'll see a lot of slipping and sliding. It's about to look like a Diddy party in Centennial High School.
It will
So
be.
after that, you have the whole talk last Copa, your preparations for this Copa, your predictions for this Copa, a little bit of talk of the people and stuff like that. Even a little bit of talk of the weather. And now another question I want to ask you. Is there anybody specifically that you want to call out?
Um, I'm gonna speak a little bit. So I feel like Luki can really step up his game. I feel I'm pretty disappointed with him, especially because the Avalos name is only being held up by me, and it's a pretty big weight, and that gap between me and Luki continues to grow. I mean, he grows taller and more athletic. I don't know about that part, but he just grows taller, and you would think it'd be more, but I ain't seeing it, so I'm pretty disappointed. Chuck, I feel like he could really put in more. We've seen glimpses of it. He just hasn't tapped into his full potential. And I really wanted to see Leo because Leo looked to be something, but the back shots were too crazy, and just not making. I knew my performance last season really made it seem like the big three was more attainable to catch up to or close up to. But this Copa, I'm really gonna have to like prove, at least in my part, that the big three ain't. It's that was just a one time mistake, and it's not something close. Like if everybody wants to get, they want to get some podiums and they want to win, they really, really need to step up their game. It's just a different level, and they just need to be better, and that's really it. Like y'all just need to be better, stuff like that. So get better, so you guys can win some. But that's just my piece. I just need to prove to y'all that last season was a fluke and it ain't gonna happen again.
And that's wonderful. We love to hear that. And I love, supporting, your fellow competitors, trying to give them like honest, genuine advice, telling them to step it up, lock in a little bit. And my question is that like you being genuine, or is that a nicer way of you telling them that they're soft as baby shit?
Nah, they soft as baby shit.
Oh, sweet as sugar?
What happened?
Sweet as sugar?
Yeah, it's like being in Joshua for real.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I've heard Arlington is pretty soft as well, That's why they call it amazingly soft is what I heard, description for Arlington. But that's a whole different
That's a
topic
story for another time.
because we don't want to get political because those
Yeah.
Arlington people are pretty soft. They get pretty butthurt about things. So, anyways, as we've gone on with this entire interview, I feel like we kind of covered all the main points and stuff like that. You seem pretty excited. I'm really excited. Believe me, I'm excited. So, with that, I think we'll be concluding our interview. Nice conversation we've had. Covered all the points. Got a couple of small little laughs out of it. Got all the information that we needed and stuff like that. And man, any final thoughts? Any final words?
Nah, I'll just let my talking be on the pitch, but I'm excited to see everybody.
And that's wonderful to hear. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes some people need to talk. Some people need to let their actions actions speak for them because actions speak louder than words. And some people they're just Helen Keller. Blind, deaf, autistic. You know.
Yeah.
That's just how things are. Anyways, glad to have you on the show. Thank you for doing the interview and stuff like that. Thank you for taking your time out because I know had a long day. You've been a busy person and stuff like that. So I really appreciate you coming out. So William, if you want to say bye to the cameras like that, to the people, ladies and gentlemen at home